The swarm came out of one of my boxes here the other day, and there was a good deal of noise and buzzing and flying around, and they settled in the tree up here. And so my task is to get them from that branch into the box over here. Because it's so high up in the tree and there's nowhere to lean a ladder, it's going to be a little tricky, but these things are often a little tricky. So we'll see what we can do. I would think there's probably 20,000 bees in that swarm. So the swarm likes to walk upwards, so I've dropped it on a box with a ramp, and the idea is that they should try and walk up towards the box. They're sort of cooperating. I'm looking for the queen, but I don't see her yet. Now there will be bees back up in the tree, I'm sure, but I'm hoping that I have enough of them down here to encourage the rest down from the branch and into the box. If the queen is in here, then there's a good chance that will happen. I'm going to try and shake some more from the tree. I don't see the queen, but often it's difficult to see the queen amongst so many. But you'll see these here fanning the pheromone. They have a little gland just in front of the sting which produces a pheromone. They face the entrance to the hive, fan with their wings to push the pheromone up into the air. And if we're lucky, it'll push the pheromone up high enough to attract the rest down. The downside is that often what happens is they come out of the box after a little while and go back up the tree, in which case they have to do the whole process again. I did have a contraption which closed the lid over it, but it was never very successful. So we're going with the brute force method. This one came out of the hive on Friday, and it's now Monday, so it's been sitting up there for 3 days. And it may be that since they haven't found a new location in that time, they're getting a little bit more tetchy than they might have been. They only have so long to survive without any stores, and until they build comb and start collecting pollen and nectar and the queen starts laying eggs, they're pretty vulnerable. If we were able to get close enough to the swarm up there almost certainly is going to be a few bees that are going up there doing a dance to indicate where the new location is, so that those stragglers won't stay there. They will follow the swarm. There's probably 200 bees in front of the hive now, and looking at that, most people would say that's a lot of bees, but it really only represents about 1% of the total. I would think there's probably 20,000 bees in that swarm, most of which have gone inside the hive. There are still a few gathering on the branch up there because they're coming back from scouting duties, but they will end up back down here with the rest, and you can see how these ones on the front of the hive are creating the pheromone to waft up into the air to attract all the straggling bees into the box. So I'm pretty confident that we're good to go. So this one was probably a little more challenging than I would have liked, only because it was so high up in the tree. If it had been 6 foot from the ground, as they often are, it would have been a piece of cake, and we could have just put the bucket underneath the branch, or box underneath the branch, and given it a good shake, or even cut off the branch and gently lowered it into or in front of the box. I prefer to put the bees in front of the box and allow them to walk in, as you've seen. The reason I do that is because I could dump them inside the box, but it just seems to me, there are two reasons. First of all, it seems to me that if I dump the bees in front of the box and they run in by themselves, it's almost as if they've made the choice, and therefore they're more inclined to stay in the box and not fly off somewhere else. The other reason is because I just think it's so cool watching all the bees run up the slope and into the box. I just love seeing it. I've seen it hundreds of times, and it never gets boring to me. And I should also point out that I've been stung a few times. I don't have a bee suit on. I do ask you that if you decide to attempt to collect a swarm, you probably want to put on a bee suit. It'll make you just that much more comfortable. You won't get stung, and that just makes life a little more pleasant.